Thank you for joining me. This is meteorologist Mark Muller. I'm currently on vacation, but I figured it was a good time to do a quick tropical update here. So let me inform you of all the things going on from the tropics to North America. We'll see where the trouble spots are. We are looking at a couple trouble spots here in the Eastern Pacific. Right now, I don't have anything in the Atlantic, but there is an interesting feature I'm going to show you later on here in the forecast segment. But we are looking at Invest 99E here in the Eastern Pacific. Definitely going to become a named storm and potentially hurricane just off the coast of Mexico here. So that is in the red. Also in the middle of the Pacific, we were looking at a 50% chance by day 5 here. Look at that, south of the Hawaiian Islands. Let's get into it here with the modeling. All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to start off with the tropics. We are looking at, here we go. There's two systems here in the Pacific. We're looking at first Invest 99E here. And then as we go to the Western Pacific here, literally right over the Philippines, Manila there, you can see this is Invest 97W here. So that's going to continue to pivot towards the northwest, towards China eventually. And of course, 99E will head up along the Mexican coast like this. And I'll show you. It's going to become, some of the outer bands may affect places like Puerto Vallarta and Cabo San Lucas. Wave action, definitely a big factor here. The Atlantic at this time, you can see we are watching a bigger tropical wave here. Don't expect any development here. You still see pretty stable just north of this with the dust and the low clouds. So let's continue to put this, we'll track us through a good portion of August here. So as we head into motion, this is for your Saturday. Look at this. This thing gets pretty ramped here on the western Mexican coastline here. You can see pretty well formidable by this point, Saturday afternoon here, 2 p.m. So look at some of the outer bands already affecting Puerto Vallarta down to Acapulco here. So we'll watch this here. This is definitely an interesting system. Don't see anything here in the Atlantic, heading into the weekend. And then as we head out towards the Philippines, this has the potential to become a named system. It is rather disorganized, but there's a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity that's going to continue to bring heavier rains to the Philippines here and head west-northwesterly. So as we continue in time here, let's see what this storm does here off the Mexican coastline. GFS not being as aggressive with it. It is going to be affected by some wind shear and some dry air at mid-levels. But you can see Cabo San Lucas is right here. Puerto Vallarta is right here. It does keep the system off the coast. You see it does become more hurricane structured here by Monday morning at around 8 a.m. So some of the feeder bands will be heading around just like this. But you can see, for the most part, it's staying off the coast. It is kind of a close call here. And out here into the Atlantic, not seeing anything interesting until you get here. We'll have to watch this next tropical wave that will be heading off the coastline of Africa here throughout the week. And as you can see here towards just west of Manila here in the Philippines, you can see this system becoming much better organized here by Monday morning, potentially looking at a named storm getting pretty active. And you can see right here into the Central Pacific, we have another system. We're watching this here for potential development, and as you can see here, another potential system. And let's continue in motion here. We'll see if we have anything on the horizon in the Atlantic. Definitely continuing to watch this hurricane here in the Eastern Pacific. You can see it pretty much staying safely off the coast here by later Monday, so not much to talk about here. You can see the monsoon moisture here along the western Mexican coastline, mainly staying inland from Puerto Vallarta here. So still eke out a pretty good day here along those resort towns. Not much in the Atlantic to speak of, and here's that system really getting ramped here in the Western Pacific, looking more structured of a potential tropical storm or maybe a potential typhoon, heading into next week. So as we continue in time here, you can see we have our next potential hurricane here right off the coast. It's heading right up parallel along the Baja of California here, so wave action will be running pretty high here, but for the most part, not looking too bad. Look at this, potentially a named system here south of the Hawaiian Islands in the middle of the Pacific, and that system here, look at this, winding up here along the China coastline here. This is going to bring some major heavy rain, and look at this. The structure on this looks pretty decent, but one thing to note here is look at the tropical connection here. This thing is going to be funneling massive and copious amounts of tropical moisture And it's going to continue across the Philippines here as well. Could clip southern Taiwan as well. But this is going to be a major heavy rainmaker here along the South China coastline here. Looking at another potential system here. Another one potential invest system by this point. And look at this. Heading just south of Hawaii. It is going to be close for you because look at this. Hilo, Hawaii is just right here. And this system could potentially be looking at, you know, just heading south of the Hawaiian Islands. So as we continue in time here, do we have anything on the horizon in the Atlantic? Well, let's take a look. You know, we have plenty of activity in the Eastern Pacific. As I've always said, you know, many times before, if we can get some slackening activity here in the Eastern Pacific, we might actually be able to get activity blossoming in the Atlantic, but that's just not happening in the short term. Here's another potential name system. This is by next Saturday, August 13th. Staying clear as a bell here in the Gulf of Mexico. There's what's left of our potential hurricane. And look at this. This system here in the Western Pacific, it kind of pivots towards the south at this point. So it kind of comes up along the coast. So we're going to be talking about this system here for a very long time. Still bringing heavy rains to the Philippines as well. And then we start to get some tropical waves by the August 13th developing out here into the Atlantic. So let's continue here in motion, see what we have. Anything going on? Yes, look at that. That system there in the Atlantic. It is kind of being affected by some wind shear, you can see. But at this point, this is probably the best thing we have going. This is by Tuesday, August 16th. Look at this system. So this is definitely something to watch here as the intertropical convergence zone really starts to heat up here into the Atlantic. So let's take a look, see if we have anything, you know, going into that key third week. So GFS continuing to show this system bringing some beneficial rains here to Puerto Rico. This is by Friday, August 19th. So, you know, we're going to look at some of these systems. You know, the trade winds kicking up here with this system. Showers and thunderstorms here coming in from the east. So definitely something to watch. And things really start to get ramped up here south of the Cape Verde Islands. Take a look at that. That's by Friday, August 19th. This is interesting because, you know, the GFS is kind of slackening off here on any activity into the Gulf here into the third week. But let's see if we can get any activity on the horizon for the GFS. We're kind of coming down here on our end of the model. So, yeah, the GFS kind of brings what's left of this system up here towards Bermuda. So, kind of almost like a recurvature like this, so to speak. There's a stalled out frontal boundary to the north. So not looking right now at anything, but look at this. We have a little bit of a disturbance here persisting across North Florida. So taking a look at the Euro here for the Atlantic pretty quickly here. Is the Euro picking up on anything? Well, one thing to note here, that high pressure across the Western Atlantic expanding. This is what's giving you your heat wave here across the eastern part of the United States and the East Coast. Have a second high up towards Europe here. But here, the Euro is kind of picking up on keeping this system, you know, on the radar here. I mean, we're not looking at any area of development here. This is Sunday, August 7th. So as we continue to put this into motion, we'll watch some of these tropical waves. See if any of these shower and thunderstorm persist. You know, the Euro is a bit more robust with some of these waves, so we'll have to watch it here. Not closing off any of them at the moment, but you can see they're going to continue on this motion, so we'll see if the Euro, you know, continues to build this high westward, because the GFS was kind of hinting that the tropical wave by the third week of August would kind of pivot more towards the north after it moved through Puerto Rico. So we'll continue to watch it here. See if there's anything here on the horizon. And one thing to note here about the Euro is it is showing a pretty robust tropical wave here by about the time Tuesday, August 9th here. So it can't go too far out beyond the Euro at this point, but this is the system we're going to be watching here as we go in time towards the third week. It's going to kind of move in this direction during 8 or 9 days. So we'll see what it does once it gets to the Caribbean islands here. It's way too early to say whether it'll recurve to the north, if this high is going to retreat, or it will continue towards the west-northwest, towards the Gulf. So as we get into the Eastern Pacific here with the Euro, let's see what the Euro does with this potential hurricane. So it's kind of bringing it up here, just paralleling the coast. Let's see how close the Euro gets the system with the coast. And you can see that the potential invest system probably in the next day or two out here towards just southeast of Hawaii. We'll continue to watch that. Probably no threat to the Hawaiian Islands, but you can see there's tropical moisture being brought up here along the resort towns of western Mexico. So The Euro's kind of keeping it well off the coast, a little bit further to the southwest than the GFS is. And a lot of these waves, if you notice, the Euro is not really bringing anything major by next Tuesday, August 9th at this point. So that'll be interesting. If we start to get less activity here in the Eastern Pacific, you know what that means. It'll allow activity here into the Atlantic to blossom. And here we go into the short term. Let's see what Invest 97 does out here into the Western Pacific. So right over the Philippine Islands here. This is this weekend, Saturday into Sunday. And we'll see what the Euro does with it. It brings it towards the northwest. Euro kind of keeps it a weak open low, but definitely a lot of tropical moisture to be had here. Just bringing it as a broad open low just west of the Philippines, bringing all that tropical moisture. So very similar to the GFS, although the GFS, I believe, does develop this a bit more. So take a look at the rest of the tropics. We'll continue to watch this feature here into the Western Caribbean. Still, there's a lot of wind shear you can see going over that. However, we are watching a big old blob heading off the Cape Verde season. You know, this is a little bit further to the north. We'll watch it as it heads west. We still have, you know, some dust up here, but that is slowly lifting to the north. And we have an upper level low we're going to watch here off the coastal areas. We'll watch this here in the Western Gulf as well. All right, so taking a look at the HRRR model, our mesoscale analysis, you take a look at the across the country. You know, the big trouble spot here is across the northern plains. That's where our best chance of any severe weather is going to occur. But as you can see here into the northeast, the main show is going to continue to be across eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, and Virginia. We're going to see these mesoscale convective systems continue to pinwheel. We see by, 11 p.m. on Friday evening, we still have, some moisture here in the Catskills and the Hudson Valley of New York. So if you live in this region, you might be looking at some showers and thunderstorm activity. Nothing really severe into the northeast from Friday into Saturday. If we continue here into 11 a.m. Saturday morning, you see most of the scattered showers and thunderstorms here are blossoming across eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, southwestern upstate New York. So yeah, we're going to continue to watch this, watching potential flash flooding threat here down into Kentucky. Definitely not a good situation here. But as we continue in time here, you can see, we get those proverbial scattered showers and thunderstorms. This is by 7 p.m. on Saturday. So, a hit or miss shower or thunderstorm. Don't look at any one of these individual cells here across the northeast. It will be a 20 to 30% chance at any given location, but it will be very humid and hot. So the dew points will be rising into the 70s by this point. So even if you're only in the upper 80s to near 90, it's going to feel a lot warmer. And you can see as we head through early Sunday morning, we get a little bit more shower and thunderstorm activity, even during the morning hours, 8 a.m. here on Sunday. So taking a look at the NAM 3 kilometer, this is Sunday morning at 8 a.m. where the HRRR left off. Take a look. Yeah, the big show here is still across the upper Midwest. But see, we get some of these showers and thunderstorms developing across the Northeast. Let's continue to put it into motion here. We'll see what your Sunday holds here across the Northeast. Widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially here, east of Interstate 81 in upstate New York and Pennsylvania. This is the area you might see some stronger showers and thunderstorms, some with heavy rain. So that'll be a welcome sight here across the, the hazy, hot, and humid areas of the Northeast. And as we continue towards, evening hours, things look, scattered at this point. It's no wide, large-scale areas of showers and thunderstorm activity until you get back here towards the upper Midwest. All right, so let's see. Taking a look at the upper-level winds, do we have any large-scale areas of storminess? Well, with this heat, you would think with the baroclinic zone here, heat and humidity to the south, and temperatures really plummeting here into the northern plains, you'd think you would see tremendous severe weather outbreak here. But, most of the dynamics staying up here bottled up across central and eastern Canada. You can see as we go in time here, we might have some areas of severe weather as we head into Sunday and Monday and next week. You can see, upper level winds here supporting some, isolated to severe weather segments here as we head into Tuesday of next week. But you see most of the dynamics with the jet stream stays well north here into extreme northern New England and southeastern Canada. So taking a look at the upper level pattern, major ridge here developing, continuing to push that warmer heat here and humidity into much of the eastern part of the United States. We have an upper level low associated with what's left with Frank here off the west coast. So let's continue to put this into motion. Do we see any pattern changes going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, August 10th? Look at this. We got a big ridge developing, pushing some warmer heat and humidity. Let's see if that heads east here. So as we continue in time, let's take a look, see if there's any changes. We do get a little bit of troughiness here along the East Coast. This is by Saturday, August 13th. So is this going to change things? Well, if there's any tropical system or tropical wave out here by this time, if it were to approach the East Coast with this kind of scenario, it would be deflected and recurve back out into the Atlantic. We're going to have to watch that, but look at it, kind of cuts off here across the southeast. And sometimes you have to watch these cutoff lows because they can develop into something. All right, so John here from, look at this, 118 degrees heat index, 135 England Ave, Little England, New York, excessive heat warning in effect. Look at this, just cruising along on the road. You definitely probably have those windows up, that air conditioning cranking. Look at that, not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, the Northeast has been inundated with heat lately. So, as they say, enjoy it, because you know what? We're probably swinging way the opposite direction come September and October. We'll probably get a lot cooler quicker as we head into winter. Nice capture, John. All right, so taking a look at the drought across the Northeast. This is just newly out Thursday, August 4th. So, yeah, I know it's a little bit hard here to see the key. You know, yellow is the abnormally dry. The light orange is moderate drought. Severe drought is in the darker orange. And, of course, we don't have any red yet for extreme drought. But here across the Northeast, I'll zoom in as much as I can here. You can actually see the yellow areas are the dry zones. Most of New Jersey getting into the dry, middle New Jersey now into the moderate light orange. Look at these light orange areas. I'll circle the areas of, you know, moderate drought right now. So even the lower Hudson Valley, southern Catskills, up through most of central Maine here. Look at these areas into the moderate drought. You're starting, look at that, Long Island, most of Long Island is now into the moderate drought now. So it's getting bad. And look at this area of severe drought, this darker orange. It encompasses most of down East Maine here into all of eastern Massachusetts, eastern Connecticut, and all of Rhode Island. So this is blossoming and expanding westward, and you can see even though we've been getting some of these gully washers, it's not enough to squelch this drought. All right, Saturday, let's see. We're still dealing with lots of heat here. Look at all the way up into the Northeast, you're into the 90s. Most areas, look at this, hundreds. Area of 100s, but look at this. Highs only in the 60s here into North Dakota. Is this going to pivot to the southeast here? Well, let's take a look here as we head towards Sunday. We start to get some of this trying to push, but look at this. This is like a brick wall, a brick oven here, just baking the eastern part of the United States, still continuing to get into the 90s as well as the West Coast as well. As we head into Monday, you start to see some relief. This is starting to pivot here more towards the Northeast, but look at this. We get a surge of warm air, 93 in Wilkes-Barre, and also Albany, 94 in Boston. Look at that. And let's see, are we going to have any relief? Look at that. 70s pivoting towards the Northeast. Let's see. This is Tuesday, so let's get into your Wednesday. Yeah, this is what you've been waiting for. Look at this. 70s down into parts of the Appalachians here, and look at the 70s across much of the Northeast and some lower 80s. And that pretty much stays around. We get a little bit of a warm up here towards Thursday into the mid-80s across, you know, coastal areas of the Northeast. But watch this. There is major heat expanding, and you know the following week this is going to be expanding east. Hey, extended out from my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Look at this. Saturday and Sunday, you have that chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. Not looking at anything less, you know, more than 1/10 of an inch, except in those stronger storms where you get some of the heavier rains. It will be warm heading up towards the mid-90s by Sunday and Monday as well. It's better chance of showers and thunderstorms with a cold front dropping in Monday. Look at that, 1/4 inch potential locally, higher amounts into Tuesday. It looks like a showery event, so you'll get some all-day rain, which should be nice, down to 82 as well as Wednesday, 82. Chance of a morning shower. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern. Links in the description down below if you haven't watched my outlooks, hurricane outlooks, Facebook and Media Mark, also Hurricane Northeastern, also Weather Northeastern, also Susquehanna Weather. You can also visit me at MediaMark.com, weathernortheastern.com, and Twitter at Weather Eastern.